You don't need to be doing all the things that men are doing. You don't need to prove that you can do what men can do. You don't need to become like them. Because if you're deciding to become someone, why would you want to become like a man? Like a man? I cannot even begin to talk about how many women I have come across in my entire life who I've seen undermine their value so much, caged by their own minds, and they are so much unaware of the potential, the magic that they hold within themselves, and it is just so sad. Hi, I'm Harshita, and in this video I am going to share 3 of the most powerful things to tap into your inner goddess. I need you to trust me when I tell you, once you integrate these things in your daily life, the amount of things, beautiful things that you're going to attract in your life apart from what you're manifesting, because that's for sure is going to come with so much ease, because tapping into your goddess energy just will make you so magnetic that it just feels effortless. Life becomes so easy. So let's get into it. I am so excited. PS, I might split this video into 2 or even 3 parts because I feel like it's going to be a long video. So enjoy. The most important step to step into your goddess self is, I know you have probably heard it before, loving yourself, self-love, and you probably don't know where to start or how to do it. So first step to loving yourself is knowing yourself, because self-love doesn't start with outright loving yourself. It starts with self-discovery. It starts with knowing who you are. You need to sit with yourself. You need to be with yourself in order to really know who you are. Even in the external world, you talk to people before outright loving them. You get to know them. You get to know what they like. You get to know what they prefer. You get to know what they don't prefer, don't like. And what I need you to do is just do that with yourself. Works like magic. So what I need you to do is no phones, no laptop, no gadgets. Sit with yourself. Just sit with yourself. Ask yourself, what do I like? What do I don't like? What do I prefer? How I prefer things happen? What I don't like about myself? What irritates me? What annoys me? What gives me joy? What brings me happiness? Things like these, I promise you, the impact, the long-term impact this can have on your journey is commendable. Recognizing your patterns. Why do you think a certain way? What do you think about something? What is your opinion on this? What is your opinion on something that's going on nowadays? And you don't need to share it with anybody. You need to just be with yourself and talk to yourself. It really just, lets you connect with yourself. Ask yourself, what am I like? What describes you? If you were to describe yourself, your personality, what are you like? What describes you? Are you loving? Are you kind? Are you insecure? Are you jealous sometimes? You need to be very honest with yourself in order to actually get results out of it, because nobody is listening to you, nobody is watching you. You are just literally just with yourself. Even if you find yourself being judgmental, which means feeling uncomfortable admitting to yourself that you're insecure, that you have jealousy issues, or that you are competent when it comes to, your friends or your partner giving someone else more time than you. What you need to do is transmute that judgment into love towards yourself. What treatment did I get in my childhood that hurt me so deeply that it became the trauma response, resulting in me being so being so needy in a very unhealthy way? When you identify the trigger, the trauma response, and you connect the dots back to where it came from. Let's say in your childhood, you felt like your parents gave much more attention to your sibling than you. They spent much more time with your sibling than they did with you. And that somewhere in you left a scar, kind of an abandonment scar, kind of an insecurity issues that, what if they are showering that sibling with love or gifts more than you, or time. As a child, we are so sensitive towards everything because we are not aware of what emotional unavailability looks like. We're not aware of why our parents are acting the way they are acting, and that leaves a scar. When you finally connect the dots, you need to see that memory as a movie. When you go to the theater and you watch a movie where a child is being mistreated, a child is not being attended properly, a child is not being given the love and affection that they deserve, and they are deprived of that, you feel like crying. You feel so sad for them, you feel so much sympathy for them. Look at the memory of you like it's a movie, remember it, play it in your head. If you feel like crying, cry it out, because that's necessary. That is how you're going to feel sympathy for your younger self, and that judgment is going to convert into sympathy. Now, when you feel sympathy, when you're done crying about it, you will eventually feel like let's say you're watching that movie and you feel like, I wish I was there, I would have given that child the love or affection that he so desperately needs. Say the exact same thing to yourself. Okay, my parents didn't give me love and affection that I needed. What I'm going to do is give it to myself. And when you give it to yourself, you need to imagine that you're giving it to that 10-year-old, 12-year-old self who was deprived of it. And that is going to change the game, because now you have transmuted judgment into sympathy, and then sympathy into love. You're loving in your head that child, that 8-year-old self you, and that is exactly what self-love is. When you meet a guy, and I am sure it has happened to most of us at some point of in our lives, that you meet a guy and then he trauma dumps you. He tells you how difficult his life has been, how much he has been through, how his ex treated him and everything, and you feel like, I am Bob the Builder and I can fix him. My love, my compassion, my presence, my magic can fix him. It can make him emotionally available. It can heal him. So Bob the Builder, how about you build yourself? How about you do the same to yourself? You need to look at yourself and tell yourself, this girl has been through so much. This girl has been neglected. This girl has been deprived of maybe care, attention, love, time. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build her, because I'm Bob the Builder, and now I am building myself first. So that's how you can really start to love yourself. Everything I said about self-love is just these methods I mentioned are just triggers. If you really look at it, they are just triggers. You know, when something annoys you, when something happens and it annoys you, when something happens, it irritates you. What is that something that happens which evokes self-love in you? These are just the triggers that will evoke self-love in you if you let it, if you keep an open mind about it. So let me know how it works out for you, which leads us to our second point. Protect your energy. Get men off the pedestal. I said it. I'm going to say it again. Get men off the pedestal. Some of you literally treat men like you need them to survive on this planet. You know, it's like you're serving them. And I am very shocked about it, because you are the one who needs to be served by men. You are not the one who is supposed to be serving them. You put them on such a pedestal. Your lives are revolving around them. It's embarrassing, people. It is just, it's sad. It's very sad. Most people, especially men, are not even worth your time. They don't have the self-awareness to know what they are, who they are. They don't have a vision for their life. They don't have their own standards. They don't even have their own personality. You know, when you meet a man and he asks you what your type is, and when you tell him, just for him to act like that for a couple of weeks, so that, you know, when you get together, he gets to show his real side of him, and you are just stuck with him, you know, stuck with the potential of who he could have been or who he once was when he was trying to impress you. They literally just mold their personality in order to impress you, in order to get together with you. And that is like, the fact that you are putting such creatures on a pedestal is sad. Beg you not to do it, please. Please. Most of them don't even believe that they need therapy, which in itself is a huge red flag. In order for you to become your goddess self, you need to treat yourself like one. You need to treat yourself like a goddess. When you really believe it in your mind that you are a goddess, you are going to only accept things that you think that a goddess deserves. Respect, love, affections, being spoiled, everything good, magical, and rainbows and sunshine. And by the way, whoever tells you life is not all rainbow and sunshine, it is. It actually is, yeah. Once you know how to tap into that energy and start vibrating on that frequency, life literally becomes rainbows and butterflies. And by this, I don't mean all men, but baby, you need to understand that if you are working so much on your energy, you become magnetic, and not everybody can have access to you. Not everybody should have access to such powerful energy, because I don't think you realize how much potential, power, and magic you hold. It is limitless. It is everything. So when I tell you that even if you have one friend or not even that, even if you're alone, be okay with that instead of having a shitty friend or having a shitty partner, even worse. Try to be okay with that, because that is how you protect your energy. The fact that you can create life, the fact that you can bring souls from spiritual realm to the physical world, I don't think you realize how powerful you are. And I'm also not saying this from the place of, oh, you don't need a man, you are a strong independent woman. You are a strong independent woman and you can be, but what society has taught us, the definition of strength and independence, is not it. That's not it. Strength is not what we've been taught. Independence is not what we've been taught from the society. So please be very careful of what you allow in your life, because I don't know what feminism has been preaching nowadays. Maybe most people have got it wrong, but you don't need to be doing all the things that men are doing. You don't need to prove that you can do what men can do. You don't need to become like them. Because if you're deciding to become someone, why would you want to become like a man? Like a man? Being who you are, you would want to change that to become a man? Because you can absolutely do what a man can do. That is for sure. No doubt in it. You don't need to prove it to anybody. You do not need to prove it to the society that you can do what they can do. You can be a man. You can, be, because that just puts you in your masculine energy. And we are tapping into the goddess within ourselves, and that is femininity. That is divine femininity. You can't have that when you're continuously in your masculine energy. It's all a bunch of BS. Whoever you've been, watching on your reels and YouTube and everything, it's BS. Trust me.